Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm going to take a look at what I think is a very promising little mini GPS drone. This is a Snaptain, there's a lot of reflection on that box, P40 Lite. Now before I move forward, I want to tell you right off the bat, this is just going to be the table review portion of the video. There's no flight review. So if you're looking for this to fly, stay tuned to the channel. We're going to do that soon. I just don't want to combine a table review and a flight review and end up with a 30-40 minute video that, as you guys know, nobody's going to want to sit through that. It's just too long. So we'll get the table review out of the way, and then we'll get the flight review very soon. Now this is a very promising GPS drone, as I said, because it is 249 grams. So it's under that 250 gram limit, which here in the US is pretty important because you don't have to worry about remote ID or even FAA registration on this drone. Also, it films in 4K at 30 FPS, it's GPS, it's got a ton of smart features. Really, this drone has as many features as any drone I've seen that's not named DJI. This could very well be a good competitor to the DJI mini drones. I think probably similar in specs to maybe a DJI Mini 2. And as you guys know, DJI drones are very difficult to get in the United States right now. Probably going to only get worse to where you can't get them at all. If you can get a Snaptain, we'll have to see how that all works out. You know, this could be an alternative that, even though it's a little pricey at around $500, you know, it may be one of the better options that you can have right now. So let's take a look at this drone. It's very premium. It's boxed very nicely, and as I said, it has a ton of features. Now at 249 grams, that is with the gimbal guard off. That does account for the memory card in it, and that's with no prop guards. They do give you a bag here with prop guards. You put these on, and I've weighed this in the bag, and it's 15 grams. I mean, even without the bag, it's going to easily put this drone over the 250 gram limit. So before I do anything else, let me pull my scale in here, and we'll just take the drone out. You do want to make sure you take this little rubber piece off that kind of locks the arms in place, and we'll just measure this so you guys can see that this drone is under 250 grams. So I've got the gimbal guard off it already. It's laying around over here actually, because I obviously have had it out of the case. We're just going to put it on here. And oops, I got to put the battery in. 1 second. The battery, we could just set it next to it. It doesn't really matter. And with the battery, we're at 247 grams. You know, my scale and another person's scale may be slightly off, but we're 247 grams. If I put these prop guards, and of course the bag's gonna weigh maybe a gram, we're at 269. So even if we're at 266 or 267, you're gonna have to have remote ID, and you're gonna have to have FAA registration on this drone. So I got that out of the way. Now, let's take a look at the accessories real quick for this drone. And then we'll take a closer look at the drone and the controller, which like I said, it's all very premium. They give you some, you know, obviously your quick start manuals and your full instruction manuals here. And there's quite a few little bags in here. You've got your OTG cables. It's kind of like your micro USB, your lightning cable, and your USB-C. So this is not a Wi-Fi drone. And one of the things that I was going to mention here is the distance on this drone. This drone, here's some extra props and a screwdriver, just your basic little accessories. This drone is rated at, let's see where it was on here. I thought it was on the box. Did they mention the distance on here? I'm probably looking right past it right here. 6,000 meter range. Again, I know this rainbow effect from this cool looking box is really throwing a lot of glare into the video, and I apologize for that. But 6,000 meters or around 20,000 feet, that is impressive. And of course, you're going to need OTG cable connection to do that. What by that means is you're not using a Wi-Fi to your phone connection. Those never go more than maybe 500 meters at the best, and I've seen some rate them beyond that, but they never work well. But again, that's really impressive range for something, again, that's not DJI. I've seen Fimi and Autel, you know, and Autel is getting out of the, unfortunately, the consumer end of the business. There's just not many manufacturers of drones out there that have anything rated at that. Now, this is going to be under ideal conditions for that 6,000, so even if you get 3,000 or 4,000 meters, that's still better than really anything you're going to buy really from most of the manufacturers on Amazon. All right, so the drone. Now, it doesn't feel DJI quality, but it's much more premium than most of the drones you'll find. Again, on places like Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, I call them, I kind of even just call them Amazon sellers, even though this particular drone I don't believe is actually available on Amazon. I do think this front here, I kind of don't know why they don't paint that black. It just looks like a cheap effect. I don't really like that, but it's just a look thing. It's not going to affect the drone at all. So before we fold the arms out, let's look down here on the bottom. You got your optical flow sensor here. That will help if you're not in GPS lock. And these are those time of flight, what's what they call the TOF sensors. I'll have to double check here real quick. And then you've got like an LED, it looks like, below it. And it's your typical mini style drone. It looks pretty good with your brushless motors and all the other things that I mentioned. And here is the 4K at 30 FPS camera. It can also do 1080p at 60. If you want a smoother frame rate, I advise going with that. Obviously 4K is going to be better detail. There's a little lens film here that I had already taken off. Make sure you do that, or you have a very blurry or foggy looking video and photos. Now the battery slides in here in the rear, and it does charge with the battery in the drone. You can't actually charge this battery outside of the drone. So you have to slide it in here, and it kind of snaps to the outside. It doesn't actually go all the way into the drone. A little bit different look. And here's your battery meter lights. And this is a 2S battery that is 2,250 milliamp, and it's 7.7 volt, which means it's what we call lithium ion high voltage. So it's a little more oomph than a typical, not a lot, but a little more than a typical 2S LiPo or lithium ion pack. And this one here is actually a lithium ion. It's like the DJI Minis. It's not a lithium, it's not a LiPo battery. It's actually a lithium ion pack. Very similar. Here's your USB-C for your charging, and of course they do give you a USB-C cable right here for charging both the drone and the controller, and your micro SD card slot, which has a max capacity of 256 gigabytes, and you'll want to make sure you use a decent speed on that, so especially if you're capturing in 4K, just so you don't have any glitches or hiccups in the video if you have a too slow of a card. But otherwise, I think that kind of covers all the features on the drone itself. So let's go take a look at the controller. The controller is very premium feeling. It reminds you a lot of what you'd see for a DJI. You've got the hand grips come out, and this is where your phone will actually mount here in the bottom. You've got your little gimbal sticks, which you take out and you actually do screw these in. They're a little wobbly in there, so I mean they don't snap in super secure, so be careful, you could lose those. And that's how this works. And now your antennas will pop up, and it looked to me like the right one has an antenna wire. I think the left one is just possibly for look, but I can't see because you'd expect there'll be one to be in both. So don't hold me to that, because you'd think with the OTG connection, you're gonna usually will run your controller output for your controls in one, and your other one will run the FPV feed, but I just don't see a wire in this one. So it's possible that they're running both of them at one antenna, or sometimes one of them just maybe the antenna is looped inside. I don't know why they wouldn't run it out, but like I said, I just don't hold me to it. I just don't see a wire in this left one, but I've not taken a magnifying glass per se to go in there and look up really close. Now your controls here, you got your speed rates here. This is your return to home, your power. Here you can see we've got 3 out of 4 lights. I'll get back to this little stick here in just a minute. On the rear, we've got your photo, which would be on your right. Your video, this is your gimbal control for tilting the camera on the drone, and this is your function button, FN button. This button, you can assign some function to this if you wish from the app, very DJI-like. This button also will allow you to activate the cruise control. So I think it was 2 clicks, and then it's up and down, positive, minus. It allows you to set a cruise control. I've never had a drone with that before. I know DJI does offer that. And I don't know if we'll get a chance to get to all this in the video, because even though they advertise a 31 minute, not 41, I wish, 31 minute flight time, That's a lot of flight time, but they always exaggerate that. You got to figure it's going to be in a 20 minutes something. It's a lot to try to review all this in a flight review, so I'll probably try to do the basics in one and then possibly do a follow-up to do some of these advanced smart features. But you can set that and then increase, decrease it, I believe, and then it basically lets the drone cruise along and you keep it at the speed it's at. That way you can focus on filming things and not have to sit there and hold, you know, your stick forward while you're flying. You know, you can set the cruise control. It looks like the left and right is changing the EV values, basically your shutter, how much light you let in on the camera. That's something people will adjust the most when they're flying a drone. The camera setting most people go to first, and it's the simplest probably to understand is your EV, and that gives you access to it without having to actually mess with it in the app. So it's neat that they have some of those quick access features. Now the app you're going to use is the Snaptain Go app. I'll have a picture of that here from the Google Play Store. It's also available on iOS App Store on Apple. And that's the app you're going to use, and it looks like it's a pretty nice app. And when you use that app, it has access to all those smart features. And I'm going to try to run through them by memory here. You've got your basic, like follow me, though it has two different follow me modes. It can do like a basic one and then like a parallel, where I think it flies off to the side of you, parallel to you as you're moving. And they didn't make it real clear, so I don't know if that follow me mode is a smart tracking or if it's following the GPS of your phone. It's probably the GPS of your phone, but they didn't make it real clear. They've also got like your circle me, and I'm sure it's got waypoints, like I said, to follow me. It's got like your droney. They all have different names for a droney mode, where it'll, you know, take off and go up and away from you. It's got like a rocket mode where it goes straight up. Again, they have different names, but it does have some other modes. I think it's called like drift mode, and that's going to be where the way it described, at least. Again, I'm not familiar. I'm sure DJI has a different name for this, but it says it'll fly up to basically you have to mark the object in the app, and it will fly up to it, and then it says it'll rotate 180 degrees and then fly away. Now again, I'm hoping I'm understanding it right. If you're someone in the comments here and you know what I'm talking about better, let me know. I'm not super familiar with that one. And these are things I want to test out before I actually try to show them to you in the video. So that's why I'm going to probably focus on the basic smart features in the initial flight review, and if I do a follow-up, that's where I can test these first to make sure I'm not, you know, stumbling around the video trying to figure out how to do it, which looks pretty stupid. And it also has, as I mentioned, the cruise control, and it has a time-lapse mode. That's where the drone kind of moves forward and takes photos at intervals, and then it compiles a time-lapse. So you get that cool time-lapse effect as it's flying. And I think you usually set a distance and stuff. I did have one a Holy Stone drone, like the 720R, I think, that I gifted to Adam at Adam's Playground. I believe that drone had time lapse. But like my DJI Mini 2 and Mini 3 and Holoton, some of the ones I have on my shelf don't have those features. So those are the kind of features you're going to see on this drone. You can see why it's a lot to tackle in one video. But I think we've pretty much covered everything. It mentions that camera is a 48 megapixel. And remember Marcus at Idaho Quadcopter reviewed this one recently too. I know he really did like this drone. I think this drone is a good alternative to DJI, especially if you can get it at a good price. Again, I've not flown it, so I can't give it my full opinion, but just going by what I've seen and heard and my previous experience with Snaptain and the quality of this, I do expect this to be a very good drone, and one that if you're looking for a mini drone that's got 4K, that's got all the smart features, and it's got the features you'd expect with DJI, but you just can't get a hold of a DJI anywhere, then this might be one to consider, especially if you're okay with paying a little bit more money, unless you can find it on sale. All right, guys, I think we covered everything on this drone. If there's anything I forget, then I'll throw it into the beginning of the flight review. It'll be a little bit before I get to the flight review on this, but I just wanted to get this out of the way. So I realize a lot of people are not going to sit through all this because you want to see it fly, and that's what's going to come up next. So stay tuned to the channel. We'll get that video up as soon as I can. And in the meantime, stay tuned. I got plenty of other things coming, an airplane, a couple of different airplanes. I've got a scooter coming up, little RC car, a brushless shark boat. I've got a lot of stuff. So got all that coming to the channel. So if you like that kind of stuff, please stay tuned to be coming to the channel soon. While you're at it, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Click the bell, that way you're notified when I upload new videos. And as always, guys, have an awesome day.